Hello guys, in this tutorial I'll be answering exam past paper questions. We'll be looking at the IGCSE Information and Communication Technology paper 3, and it is coming from the October-November 2015 series. Um, the exam is 2 hours 30 minutes, and you're required to answer all questions from this paper. I'll be doing a section from data analysis in this video. I'll put up another video where I'll do another section on web authoring. Right, so what you need to be able to answer this is a spreadsheet package. I'll be using Excel 2016, but if you do have any other spreadsheet package, you're free to use that. Right, so let's get started. Right, so the scenario is that you work for Hot House Design and will produce materials for the Tawara Wildlife Conservation Trust. Um, Step 1, create a new folder called N15 Tawara. Alright, so I'm going to create this folder on my desktop. Alright, so I'll create a new folder called N15, N15 Tawara. Okay, right. Step 2, locate and download the following files from the website, and this is the website where you can find these files. Store them in your N15 Tawara folder. Right, so I must say here that in some schools you'll be required to go to this web link and download these files physically. In other schools, these files will be given to you by your supervisor. Um, in my case, I downloaded these files beforehand, so they are already on my desktop. These are the files. Let me just open so we see them. These are the files here. Okay, so you just need to verify that these files here are actually the files that you have listed here. Okay, so you just need to verify that these are the files that you have listed there. All right, so the question asked us to store these files in the N15 Tawara folder. Okay, so I'm just gonna do that. I'm just gonna get these files and drag and drop them in there. Okay, in this folder I'll be working in this folder. Right, I'm gonna close that and go to the next step. Step 3, open the file n15 underscore 3 underscore evidence dot rtf. Now rtf is rich text file, so I'm going to go to my folder n15 Dora, open this one, and n15 underscore 3 evidence, that's that one there, and I'll right click and open with, and select Word 2016 and click OK. Alright, so you may notice, let me just say something here. You may notice that I didn't just go and double click on this file and just open it. I had to right click and go to open with and select the appropriate software to open it with. I must say here that sometimes you may double click on a file and it may open a default application package that you don't want. Different computers are set to run or open files by default, or open certain types of file by default. So if you just rushed and double click on a file, you find that it may open a wrong package, and if you didn't realize that, you may go ahead and continue using that package, and then you find that you're just sort of limited on what you can do in that application. You can't do certain things just because you opened a file in a different application. That's why questions, they usually say that using a suitable software package, open the file such and such. Okay, so you must really understand what file should rather what application package should be used to open a particular type of file. Okay, so in my case, I usually advise students to right click on a program, open with, and then select the program that you think is suitable to open that file, or open that program. For example, if it was Word, I open Word and then I go to file and I go to open, and then I can browse to where that file I'm looking for that I want to open. So the key is, first of all, you must understand, you must know which application program that you're going to use to open a particular file. All right, so let's continue. So it says, make sure your name, center number, and candidate number will appear on every page of this document. Right, so I'm going back here and I'm going to, actually what this is asking us is to insert actually a header or a footer. In this case, I'm going to insert a header. So I'll pick up blank 3 columns. And I'll type candidate name. I'll use my name, doesn't matter. I'll say Chikasa Evans, and center number ZM556, and candidate number. I don't have a candidate number. I'll pick up 0001. Okay, so just verify your name and then your center number here and your candidate number. Okay, next step, save this evidence document in a work area as N5 evidence, followed by your candidate number. For example, N5 evidence 9999. So in my case, I'll save it as N5 evidence 0001 because that's my candidate number. Later on, we'll need this file. Okay, so I'm gonna go to file, then save as, and browse to my desktop, um, and I'll look for N15 Tawara. Okay, and I'm gonna save it in here. I'll simply call it N5 evidence. Okay, and it's gonna have my candidate number at the end, and I'll change it to a Word document format. Somebody will say, but I mean, why can't you leave it in rich text file format? Why do you have to change it to Word document? Well, Word document supports a lot of features, and since I know I'm working with these files in Word document, rather in Microsoft Word, then I can change this into a Word format unless the question restricts me from changing that. But if it doesn't restrict me, then I can go ahead and change it into a Word document file. I'll get lot more features compared to a rich text file format. Okay, so I'll click on save. Just verify that it is actually in N15 Tawara folder, and I'll click on save. Okay, so you get this notification here asking you, says your document will be upgraded to the newest file format. You will get to use all the new features in Word, some minor layout changes and possible whatever. So just say okay. All right. Okay, so done. So you will notice up here, you see that the file is saved. It is bearing the name that you created, that you gave it, N evidence, N5 evidence 001, and it is now a Word file. Okay, I'll go back to the questions. Says the Tawara Wildlife Conservation Trust requires you to create a spreadsheet to calculate the wage bill for 1 week. All currency values must be shown in dollars with 2 decimal places. This is very important that you identify all values that are currency and give them the data type as currency and change the number of decimal places to 2. Make sure that you use the most efficient methods to do each task. In other words, there may be uh, 2 or more methods to use in order to solve a particular task, but there are some methods which will be considered as efficient in terms of clarity, in terms of you don't let me tell you, they are just simple ways of using of doing the task. Okay, don't use something that is complex, something that is long. Just be simple in your approach. In other words, use an efficient method, one that is going to be considered as um, um, efficient. I'm trying to explain the the term efficient, and I'm still coming back to the use of the same word efficient. Okay, but in simple terms, just use a straightforward method. Okay, so the other side, the other part says make sure that each printout fits on a single page. This is very important. Okay, I will show you in due time how to make your printout fit on a single page. There is actually a setting before you print that actually makes your page to fit on a single page. So please, this is very important. You need to make sure that before you print your work, it is actually going to fit on a single page. I've noticed marking ICT papers where students will actually print, and then the information actually fails to fit on one page and it overflows onto the next page, and they do go ahead and submit that work for marking. But that's not should not be the case, because the examiner is telling you here to make sure. This is a very important term or phrase here. Make sure, or ensure that each printout fits on a single page. So before you actually print or command to print, make sure that it actually fits on a single page. If it doesn't, don't even attempt to print. Okay, that's what this means. Okay, so And then the other part is that make sure that the contents of all the cells are fully visible. That's very important as well, because you, as you notice later on, sometimes if this, the contents of the cells are not fully visible, you get to have hashtags in a cell, and you wonder, but why is it that these cells are displaying hashtags instead of displaying the actual contents of the cell? Is because actually the boundaries or the width of the cell is actually not large enough to support the data that is being held in that cell. All right, so three things that we have to bear in mind: change to dollars, the currency, correct to 2 decimal places, and then we make sure that the printout actually fits on a single page, and that all the contents of the cell are actually fully visible. Okay, so this is very important. Step 4: using a suitable software package, load the file n15 underscore 3 underscore payroll.csv. Okay, then it says examine the contents of this file and save it as a spreadsheet. In this case, we have been told to actually save it as a spreadsheet. This is a CSV file, but when we open it, we should save it as a spreadsheet. Okay, so let me go back to my folder, and the file is n15 underscore 3 underscore payroll. I'll right click here and open it with Excel. Okay, so examine the contents of this file. Okay, this is what I have. Okay, now there was the section that says make sure that the contents of the cells are fully visible. You'll notice that in cell 3 the headings actually, some of them are not fully visible. Okay, so you need to make sure that they are fully visible, and how you can do that is actually by going by the boundaries of A and B. So A and B, when you have your cursor change to that direction, double click on that and you'll see that payroll number actually has enlarged. Cell A has actually enlarged, and do the same with cell B, do the same with cell C. You see some cells will actually shrink, some cells will expand, depending with what you have. Like you see cell G has actually shrunk, and H has expanded. Okay, so that is that. So we have the contents, and then we are encouraged to save this as save it as I don't know if we were asked to give it a name. Okay, it is still going to bear this name, but the extension is going to change. It's now going to be an Excel file as opposed to a CSV file. Okay, so right, so I'm gonna change this to Excel workbook, and I'll maintain the name as it is, and I'll click on save. Okay, so it is now a spreadsheet file. Step number 5: use cell N19 to D27 to create a named range rates. Show evidence of how you created this in your document, evidence document. Okay, so I'm gonna go back here, and the cell is from cell N19 to actually cell D27. So I'm gonna create a named range here. I'll highlight all these cells here up to the end there, right click on them and define name. Now you may be using maybe Word 2007 or 2010. I don't know how it will appear, but basically you right click, select the range of the cells that you want, and you right click, and then there should be something related to a named range, or create a named range. Okay, so I'm gonna call this okay, I'm gonna call it as rates. Now it's important that you type it as it is, because some students would want to type it, for example, as maybe small letter rates and stuff. The key with ICT is that you need to type labels or headers or words as they are. Don't try to change them. Okay, don't try to do what you think would make it look right. Okay, just label it as it is. If it is capital, do it capital. If it is small letter, do it small letter. That way you find that you get all the marks that you need to get as far as labels are concerned. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to create a label called rates, and I'm going to show evidence in my evidence document of how I did this. Okay, so I've actually selected this, and just need to verify that the named range that you selected is actually A19 to D27, and this is absolute referencing. You'll see that the name of the cell is going to appear. It says refers to the name of the cell, which is N15 underscore, not the name of the cell, the name of the spreadsheet that I'm working with, which is just the workbook. If you notice here, it's actually N15 underscore 3 underscore payroll, and here you find the named range that I'm supposed to create is rates, and it refers to this workbook called N15 underscore 3 underscore payroll, and you see the dollar sign symbol there, dollar sign A, dollar sign 19. That just refers to absolute cell referencing. So I'm actually picking the exact cells. They won't change even if I modify this formula in any way or copy and paste the formula. This is going to remain as A19 to D27. Okay, that's what absolute referencing means. But if it was relative referencing, when I drag or copy the formula, it will actually adjust to suit the required data. Okay, so before I click on OK, this is how I actually created my named range. So I'm gonna copy this screenshot. There is a button actually on a keyboard, PRT SCN SYS RQ. It could be print screen system request. I'm going to click, press on that button rather on the keyboard. Just tap it once, and I'm going to paste this in my evidence document. Now, I must say here also that when the question asks you, say steps, asks you to say, show how evidence how you created this in your evidence document, it's important that you paste a screenshot on the step that asked you to do that. Okay, so I'm gonna go back here, and the step that asked me to do that is step 5, and here find it's written named range here. So I'm gonna delete that, and I'm gonna paste my screenshot there. Okay, now I must also say here that I mean, this screenshot looks beautiful, it's colorful, attractive, and it's got my taskbar down there, and people will know I'm using Windows 10 and all. But this is not necessary. Okay, what we're interested is actually the window that is showing you the named range. Okay, so you're gonna have to crop the unnecessary part, because if you went ahead and printed this, you find that I can't read what is written on this window where I was creating the rates. I know myself how I did it, but the examiner won't be able to read this. Okay, so you need to be able to crop out the unnecessary information and resize this window so that the examiner can read once it is printed. So I'm going to go on format and go on crop, and I'm going to drag this all the way to this size, just about there. Okay, and I'm going to drag this side just about there as well, and drag it this side just about there, and drag it there just about that. Okay, and I'm gonna now resize this just by dragging it like that so that it is visible enough. Now you'll notice this is actually visible. You can read rates, and you can read SL absolute cell 19 to absolute cell D27. Okay, so I'm gonna just maybe just make this look like a full window. Just reduce this a little bit just there. Okay, so that it actually looks like a complete window. Okay, so that is my evidence, and I'm gonna go back to the question. It says okay, I didn't click on OK. Let me click on OK here. Yeah, better. So step 6 says made cells A1 to H1 so that they become a single cell. So this is testing your skill on merging. So cell A1 to H1 is there, and I'm gonna drag all the way, select all the cells, and then click on merge and center, and I'll merge those cells. And then it says enter the text TWCT week 14 payroll. Now, like I said here, it is important that you enter the text as it is. What is in capital, enter it as capital. What is in small letter, enter it in small letter. Don't change anything, don't modify anything. Okay, so I hope that is essentially helpful. So I'm gonna type that text there in my Excel workbook. So in these cells that I just made, I'm gonna type TWCT hyphen week 14 payroll. Okay, so just verify that you got the name right, and whatever needed to be in capital is in capital, and whatever needed to be in small letter is in small letter. So TWCT hyphen week 14 payroll in. Okay, so yeah, I got it right. Okay, so done with this step. Step 8, format this text so that it is a bold 18 point center aligned and sans serif font. Okay, so I'm gonna make it bold. Okay, I'm gonna select it, make it bold. Okay, and it must be center aligned, which Major and Center actually did center that, so you can verify it is on center. And then it must be underlined. Is it? No, it shouldn't be underlined. It must be 18 point. Okay, and should be a sans serif text font. Okay, so let's make it 18 point. Okay, let's make it 18, and it should be sans serif font. Now sometimes students do struggle, what's the difference between a sans serif font and a serif font? How would you tell the difference between a sans serif font and a serif font? Well, let me just open a Word document here and just show you something. Okay, I have Word here. I'll just open a new blank document here, and I'm gonna just increase the font size here. Okay, and I'm gonna type this is a sans serif font. Okay, I'm gonna type a sans serif font down there, and I'm gonna put a serif font here just to distinguish between a serif font and a sans serif font, because students do struggle here where they fail to define or understand or select which one is a serif font and which one is a sans serif font. Okay, so I'm just going to explain just briefly what that means. So let me just enlarge this so that you can see. I'm going to type some text here and say try me. Okay, and this is an example of a serif font. And I'll explain now. The word sans means without, so you're actually saying without serif font. Okay, and a serif font is going to have some serif, or is going to have sharp edges, but you notice with the sans serif font it actually has smooth edges. If you notice the boundaries of Y, they are actually smooth. Okay, let me put up an example of a serif font so that you get to have an idea. Okay, so let me just enlarge this as well, and I'm gonna type the same try me. Okay, but I'm gonna make this a serif font, so let me just enlarge this once more so that it's just almost the same size as the other one. Okay, they're about, and I'm gonna select a serif font such as Times New Roman. Now if you can notice a difference, you'll see that a serif font has actually got sharp endings on the boundaries of a letter. Take for example ara, you see that the base is sharp, but take for example ara in this sans serif font, you see that actually the base is actually smooth. Okay, so all fonts that will actually have smooth edges on the boundaries of the letters are actually sans serif font, and all text that is going to have sharp endings, they look like legs, huh? Yeah, they look like legs, are actually serif fonts. I hope this actually explains to you the difference between sans serif fonts. There are many sans serif fonts, and there are many serif fonts available in Word. You can just check them out. You see, for example, Algerian is sans serif, Arial Black is serif, and there are many fonts that you can find there. Actually, Bell MT is serif font, and so on and so forth. So the trick is actually being able to identify which one is going to have smooth edges and which one is going to have sharp edges. All right, thank you. Right, so we continue. So we are told to select a font that is going to be a sans serif, which means it's going to have smooth edges. And as you can see, my font currently is Calibri, and it has smooth edges. It doesn't have sharp edges, so it's already in sans serif, and I don't need to change that. Unless you just want a different font for sans serif, a different sans serif font, then you can go ahead and change that. But if you are comfortable with the one that you have, just leave it as it is, and yeah, progress to the next section of the question. Right, so done with step 8, we go to step 9. Format this cell so that it contains what text on a black background. Okay, so I'm going to go back here and select that it should have white text. Okay, and please, when you do select white text, make sure that it is white, because if you go for some text like you notice that this is not absolute white. I can still see the text in the background. This is a white background. Actually, the cells are actually white, but I can still see the text there. So make sure that it is pure white that you select. Okay, just select white, and then the background, actually select a black background like that one. Right, step 10. In cell D4, enter a function to look up the way, rather to look up the pay rate from the rates table using the pay code as the lookup value and the named range as the named range rates as the table array. Okay, so I'm gonna do a video, because if I do a video in this one, or if I explain about the lookup functions, it's gonna take this video is gonna be long. So may I suggest that I'm going to put up a video to explain the difference between HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP, and when you can use HLOOKUP and when you can use VLOOKUP. Please do put up some comments, which area you'd want me to specifically target and clarify as far as the lookup function is concerned. But in this video, I'm just going to use the lookup that is appropriate for this scenario. The lookup function is appropriate for this scenario, and I'm going to use the pay code as the lookup value and the range that we just created as rates. Okay, so we're supposed to put that in cell D4. So the lookup function I'm going to use is VLOOKUP, and I'll explain here that VLOOKUP actually looks up the data that is arranged in columns. Okay, so you are actually comparing data that is in columns, and the HLOOKUP, of course, does or deals with data that is arranged in rows. Okay, so if you take note, for example, what we want is an extract of the pay rate. Okay, so the pay rate that we want to extract is actually contained here. Now we want to extract the pay rate based on the pay code. So where there is a match of the pay code, then we retrieve the corresponding pay rate. For example, where there is B2, if we do a lookup from this table, the rates table that we just created, if you check B2, there, the corresponding pay rate is actually 9. So we expect, when this VLOOKUP function works perfectly, we expect a 9 to be retrieved there. Okay, so what we're going to do is to use the lookup value, which is contained in this table, in this column, the pay code. Okay, and we'll compare it with the pay code in the array table array that we have. Remember, we selected cell A19 to cell D27 and named it as rates. Okay, so that becomes our table array. So we compare this from any column from the table array. Now I must also say that usually the lookup value is the first column in the table array. Okay, it is the first column in the table array. So when you start counting for the column index, you actually count the first column as your lookup value from the table array. Okay, so here we're going to type equal to and select VLOOKUP, and the lookup value is actually what you have in column C here, and it's going to be C4. Okay, that's where B2 is, so we'll put C4, and we're going to select comma, and then automatically you will see that Visual Basic, Visual Basic, that's the thing when you're used to programming. I'm a programmer by profession, so when you're used to certain IDEs, you begin to mention these IDEs. So don't be surprised if I begin to mention some syntax errors here and stuff. It's just because actually I'm coming from a background of programming. Nevertheless, yeah, so you have the lookup value is actually what we were told as pay code. We told say pay code is actually going to be the lookup value, and so the lookup value is pay code. In this case, the value that is found in row 4. So C4 will be that one, and then table array is actually the array that we created using the named range. We selected an array of cells from cell A19 to cell D27, and we called it rates. So I'm going to type rates here, and you'll see that automatically it is going to appear somewhere we're down here. So I'm just going to select rates here, and you see when I pick up rates, actually Excel selects or highlights the cells that are actually represented by that table array or that named range. Okay, so I'm going to put column there, comma, and the next one you'll see that it is column index. Now column index actually represents the number of columns from the lookup value, okay, in the table of in the table array, okay, or in the named range. So you count the number of columns up to the column where the values must be retrieved. So the retrieved values that we want are the pay rates, and so we count from pay code going to the right. So pay code is 1, contract is 2, and pay rate is 3. Okay, so these are the columns that we have. So pay code is column 1, contract is column 2, and pay rate is column 3. So I'm going to put column 3 as the value that I want to retrieve, and I'll put a comma there. Now the other part is actually just a Boolean test in there, and we are told that true actually returns an approximate match, and false returns an exact match. What this means is that if I'm searching for something from this table and I don't find exactly what I'm looking for, I can actually pick up a value that is approximate or something that is close to what I'm looking for. But if I select false, that will be a representation of the exact value that I want to get from this table. In this case, I want the exact value. There's no need for us to put an approximate value for this one. Marking this paper, I did realize some students actually were selecting true. They did get the lookup value correct, they did get the C4, they did get the rates, and they did get column 3 correct, but the last value, which was supposed to be true, rather which was supposed to be false, they put true there. I think they didn't really understand what we're looking for. Okay, so I'm gonna put false as what I'm looking for there, and I'm gonna close that and press enter, and you'll see automatically that B2, the retrieve rate is actually 9, the pay rate is actually 9, and if we go back here, B2, and you see that we have managed to retrieve 9 as that. Okay, I usually tell my students hallelujah. You know, when I explain something, and then it makes sense, I would then instead of saying do you understand, I would say hallelujah, and then they'll go like amen. Yeah, just a good way. I'm a Christian, by the way, so don't be surprised when I use such terms. Okay, so let's go back to that. So we're done with it says in cell D4 enter lookup value. Actually, a lookup enter a function. Why am I reading ahead of myself? Enter a function to look up the pay rate, okay, from the rates table using the pay code as the lookup value and the name range as the table array. Okay, right. So we're done with that. So the other part says same formula will be entered in step 11 and 12. This will not produce results until test data is put in cell F4. Okay, so step 11 and 12 actually okay, so step 11 and 12 actually is we're going to put says formula will be entered in step 11 and step 12, and right. So the question actually this is just an explanation. Say the formula that we are going to enter in step 11 and 12 will not actually produce the results until we supply the test data, until we supply some data to um, into cell F4. Okay, so step 11 says that in cell G4 enter a formula to calculate the pay for this employee using their pay rate and hours worked. Okay, so let's go back here in cell G4. G4 is this one. We enter a formula to calculate the pay for the employee using their pay rate and their hours worked. So their pay rate is this one, and their number worked, you see it's blank. Okay, there's nothing here, so leave it as it is and just put equal to D4 multiplied by F4. Now D4 multiplied by F4 is actually the pay for this employee. Now, may I say here also that the how this formula is you come about this formula, because there are a lot of mathematical operators that you can use there. You can use plus, you can use multiplication, division, and so maybe some students may struggle to actually realize that they are supposed to multiply these two cells. Marking the ICT papers for this exam, I noticed some students were also putting division sign there, d4 divided by f4, and actually ended up getting wrong values. Okay, so they knew they were to identify, or they identified the cells actually as D4 and F4 quite well, but it was the operator that was different. So what is supposed to happen is, it's like, for example, the way you say that if my pay is, let's say, $10 for every hour that I work, I'm getting paid $10 per hour. If I work 2 hours, what is my pay? Okay, so logically you know that actually I've doubled and I'll get $20 for working for 2 hours. This is the same concept that is here. If the pay rate is $9 per hour, maybe, then for the number of hours worked that somebody has worked, then we multiply the pay rate by the number of hours that they have worked, and that's how you arrive at that. So currently you notice that it is 0, okay, because um, we haven't entered any value here. Okay, so mm, the other thing that of course you must uh, take note is, before I come to that, I want to talk about the, like, you notice that the currencies um, in where the money is in, we don't have the unit for the money here. Okay, so it's just when pay is 0, and the pay rate here is not in dollars. Even the pay rate here is not in dollars, so we needed to format these into actually currency. There should be a section that could ask us to actually format them to be in currency, but I don't think it would be harm if you actually did format these, just to make sure that you actually are doing the right thing. Okay, so I'll come back to formatting in currency, but you can do that if you want at this stage, or you cannot do that. It's still fine. Okay, so the next stage states select appropriate data that you can enter in cell F4 to test this formula. Now, this is very important, guys. I want you to stop whatever you're doing, pay attention as I explain this section, because this is very important. Okay, so you need to select to be able to, whenever you, even when we do software design or software development, we do come up with data that we're going to use to test our system to really make sure that it is working or doing what we want it to be doing. This is coming from the section where you guys talk about test data, normal data, extreme data, erroneous data, or abnormal data, and so on. Okay, so you must be able to do that. So in this case, it says enter this data in the chosen column of the test table in your evidence document. Okay, so select appropriate data that you can enter into cell F4 to test this formula. Okay, so you need to test at least something that is within the boundaries of the number of hours that are logically that somebody can work in a week. Okay, so for example, if I entered, let's say I entered somebody worked for 10 hours here, and I put enter, then my formula would say if he's working at a rate of $9 and has worked 10 hours, I expect him to be paid 90. That okay, so it says enter this data in the data chosen, rather enter this data in the data chosen column of the test table in evidence document. So if you go to my evidence document, here, and you see that step 11 actually, um, step 11 is this one. So the table is this table here. So the data chosen, I chose to enter 10 hours, and the expected output was actually just a multiplication of the number of hours that the person worked, multiplied by the rate. Okay, the pay rate, which is 9. So if I multiply 9 by 10, I expect to get 90, and The actual is the one actually after putting there, after you put your function and you put your value in there. This is the actual because this is as a result of computing these two. Okay, and this is how you can know that actually your formula is working perfectly, because if I know the value that I expect to get and I don't get that value, then I know the formula is not doing something, and I should automatically, I mean, be able to rectify that error. Okay, so in my actual, you see that it's 90. So I'll go back here and I'm gonna type 90 there as well, because that's what the value that I've gotten. If I go to step, um, it says record in the expected column of your test table the value you expect to see in cell G4. Okay, um, and then it says that enter um, your test data in cell F4 and record the result in the actual column of your test table. And I think we just did that. Okay, in cell G4, let's check that cell G4 is this one, and I think we just did that. So I probably went ahead of myself just on this section here. Yeah, but this is what basically this question you're supposed to do. Right, next, um, step 12. In cell H4, enter a formula to display the word yes if the hours worked are greater than the contract hours. Okay, so if the hours worked are greater than the contract hours, then we display yes, and then no if the hours worked are the same as the contract hours, and we display the word incomplete if the hours worked are less than the contract hours. Okay, so I'll be here. So this is supposed to be in cell H4. Okay, cell H4, we need to test. This is a logical statement that we're going to have, a conditional statement. It is going to display yes if the hours are greater than the contract, the hours that we enter are greater than the contract hours, and no if they are the same, and then incomplete if the hours worked are less than the contract hours. Okay, so go back here, and in H4, okay, if the hours worked, which is this one, if this one is greater than this one, then here we write yes. If this one is equal to this one, then here there will be no. If this one is less than this one, then this one will be incomplete. Okay, so you test that using your if statement. So if, okay, it's a logical value. So um, if F4, okay, is greater than E4, okay, that is if the hours worked are greater than that, then the logical test is going to be the result is going to be we need to print yes, okay, here, comma, that is the otherwise value. So if it is not, then we test it again. Okay, remember, if we go back here, we display yes if the hours worked are greater than that. We display no if, so we need to test for the no aspect as well. So if F4 is actually equal to E4, then we need to write no. Okay, otherwise we have tested two signs. Remember, a value can be less than, it can be, or it can be greater than. If it's not any of these two, then it is equal. So in this case, we've tested for greater than. If it is not greater than, we've tested for equal to. If it is not equal to, the default one remains that it is less than that. Okay, so if it is less, then what should we write? We should just write incomplete. Now you know some students would so close your bracket there and close this other one. Excel automatically shows you which bracket actually represents which one. So the red one is for the inner loop, not loop. Here, there I go again with there I go again with my programming statements. It's for the inner if condition, and then the outer bracket is for the outer if condition, right? And press enter, and it will write incomplete. Okay. Now, if I go back to the question here, actually it says display the word no if hours worked are the same, and display the word incomplete if hours are less than. Okay, so this one I've done that. This one says select 3 items of appropriate data that you can enter into cell F4 to test this function. Okay, so remember I talked about the normal data, the extreme data, and the abnormal data. Normal data is data that is within, or that is should be acceptable, or that should be accepted by the system. Extreme data is data that is just at the boundary of the, the, the the system, and it should be accepted. And abnormal data is data that is above the values in the system, and it should be rejected. Okay, so in this case, what should we do? We need to enter the data, appropriate data, so we need to test. So the benchmark that we have, that we're testing with, is actually 35, if you notice in this case. So the appropriate data that we're supposed to test with is data that is going to be either less than 35, we see how it's going to be. Then we test with data that is same as 35, worked hours, number of hours worked equal to 35, see how the overtime will be, and check number of hours if it's greater than 35, then see how that is going to be. So once I've selected that, and then I enter that into that, and then I should be recording my results into the table. So I should be recording the expected recording the expected column of your test table, the output that you expect to see in cell H4. Okay, so let's start with this one here. So first of all, let me show you the table, how it is looking. So you have the column, say reference to cell F4, and the data that you're going to choose, one that is above, rather one that is less than 35 rather, one that is also above 35, and one that is equal to 35. I have some expected data, and I have the actual data that the system gets. So for example, if I choose data, I'll choose 30, let's say I choose 30 here. If I choose 30, okay, then I expect 30 to be multiplied by let me just put 30 in here so that we see what I'm talking about. If I put 30 here, okay, the pay is 270, and the overtime still records that it's incomplete. So going back to my evidence document, okay, and then I'll put, I expect incomplete to be here, and sorry, that's not incomplete. Let me type it nicely. I expect incomplete. Okay, that is what I expect. Okay, and if you go back there, because the number of hours were less than this one, I expect to get incomplete here, and this is actually what I've gotten. So this is the actual data that I've gotten. So I'll come back here and say incomplete. Okay, I've tested for one that is less. Let me test for one that is the same. When it is the same, remember in our description we say that when it is the same, come back here, we say that when, if display no if the hours are the same. So I expect no. Okay, so come back here in my here, when it's the same I expect no, and then let's test it actually with 35 here, and there we go, it says no. Okay, so that is my actual, it said no. Then I need to test this with anything that is above 35. I'll pick up 40, and what should I expect? When it's above, I expect a yes, and let's put 40 here, and there you go, I got a yes. Okay, so come here and I'll say yes, that's what I got. Okay, let's go back to the step again. And this other part, of course, was just telling us to enter each item of test data into cell F4 and record the result in the actual column of your test table for each item of data. This is what we were doing. It is important just to read through these statements before you actually begin to populate your data there, so you understand. Okay, the next one says replicate the formula entered in step 10, 11, and 12 for all employees. Okay, so we go back here, we entered some formula here, we entered some formula here, we entered some formula uh, there. I think, no, it was here, it was here, and it was here. So we need to replicate this. Okay, so I'm gonna have to format these as currencies. I don't know, let me see if there's any step that is asking me to. Okay, so it says apply appropriate formatting to these. Okay, there's this step that is asking. I was worried that there was no step that's going to ask me to apply formatting, and I needed to do that on my own. Okay, so what I'm going to do is come back here, and I'm going to replicate this formula. To replicate a formula, I need just to click there, put my cursor. Once it changes there, click and hold the left button on your mouse and drag down all the way to the bottom there, and you see that the values are going to be put there automatically. And I'm going to do the same with this formula. Click there, hold and drag down, and you see the values will be replicated. And I'm going to do that with that. I'm going to click and hold and drag all the way down there and there. So I don't need this value. I'm going to delete that. I don't need it. That was just for testing for step 11 and 12. Okay, so I'm going to have to resize this. The next one says after we've done replicating the formulas, the next one says apply appropriate formatting to all cells. Okay, so this is where we need to apply the dollar sign, the 2 decimal places, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to change this to currency. I'm going to select that and hold my control button on my keyboard and select that, so that I select all the values for currency, and I'm going to select that as well. Okay, you can do that separately, you can do that if you want. I'm going to go there and go to currency, and it's going to be in dollars, correct to 2 decimal places, as if it knew that I wanted 2 decimal places. I don't have to change anything, it's in dollars already, and it's going to be in 2 decimal places. So which ones or which values should be in dollars? You should recognize that the values that should be in dollars are actually the ones that represent currency. So pay rate is actually $7.5 maybe, or like for this one $7.5, and the pay actually is in terms of money. Okay, so it should be in dollars, correct to 2 decimal places. This is what there's a section that we looked at up here. It told us to do format it in dollars to 2 decimal places. Okay, and this is what we're doing, dollars to 2 decimal places, and say okay. Okay, so that is done. What other formatting do we need to do? Just make sure that the cells are visible. Double click that, just make sure that the cells the data in the cells is visible. Okay, you don't need to have data that is not going to be complete. Okay, right, so that should be fine. So let me see if there's anything more. That was step 14, apply formatting to all cells. Okay, if there is any formatting that we have forgotten, let's go back. The formatting was up here, so we change to 2 decimal places. Then the other thing is just make sure that it's in single page and the contents are fully visible. So we done the contents are fully visible, but changing to single page, that is going to be when we're about to print. Okay, so let me go back to the question down here. So we done 14. Let's go to G16. Says in cell G16 enter a function to calculate the total wage bill for this week. Total wage bill for this week. So let's go back here And I didn't put for total. I think it's important that I format total as well to be currency, to do decimal places as dollar as well, and say okay. Now we need a formula that is going to calculate the total pay for the week. Okay, come back here. It says in cell G16, enter a formula to calculate the total wage bill for this week. And remember, this is week 14. So for this entire week, we need to calculate how much actually was being paid. Okay, so there are a couple of ways that you can do that. You can just type, for example, equal to sum G4 to G4, which is this one, all the way the cells in range to G15, or you can just put there, put equal sign and go to auto sum and select sum. Okay, yeah, select sum and automatically you see that it will populate. It will say sum equal to G4 to G15. Okay, so these are the cells in range and you see that they will be highlighted, or you can put that manually. Okay, but please don't use this one here. Don't use sum 1 is equal to number 1 comma number 2. You know the way it's like you're saying sum is equal to G4 plus G5 plus G6 plus G7. This is what we meant when he said you must use methods that are efficient. Let's come back here. This is what we meant. We said you must use methods that are the most efficient to do a task. This is what I meant by that. That are straightforward, simple. Okay, so this is cumbersome if you start doing G4, G5, G6, you know, or G equal to G4 plus G5 plus G6 plus G7 plus G8 all the way to G15. That is cumbersome. So this is what we mean actually by using some methods that are efficient. So press enter and you see that the total value is going to be there. Okay, so done with 15. Okay, then 16, in the center of the header add your name, center number and candidate number. So in the center we're going to insert a header. So come to header, and in the center you see there is left, center and right. And that's the beauty about Excel, is that it puts up this in blocks so that it's easy for you. So I'm going to put my name as Chikasa Evans. I'll put comma my center number ZM556, and I'm going to put up my candidate number as 001. Okay, in the same line. Okay, so let's see if there's anything. Okay, then it says save and print the spreadsheet showing the values. Okay, so come back here. Don't put any values here. We've not been asked to put any values, so I'm just gonna save and print this as it is. Okay, I've not put any value, so I expect the cells to be as they are. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go on file. I'm gonna go to print. First of all, it asked me to save. Okay, so I'll save, and then I'm gonna go back to file and then print. Now here, this is where we need to set that it fits only to one page, and we I don't know. I wanted to say we are lucky, but let me use the word. We are blessed that this page actually fits on this information fits on one page, but sometimes it may fit on a second page. And how you can know that it fits on a second page, or the page actually a workbook has been broken into separate pages, you can come back here and you'll see here it's showing 1 of 1. If it shows 1 of 2 or 1 of 3, then you know that this one is actually not fitting there. So I'm gonna put this on my A4 paper, and I'm gonna have to so scaling, this is actually where you find the feature that puts it on one page. So the one that puts it on one page is actually the one that says fit sheet on one page. Okay, that's the one that puts the sheet on one page. Okay, so once it is like that, no matter how this the spreadsheet is, it's going to be compressed and it's going to fit on one page. This is a feature that actually reduces the number of pages. If you have multiple pages and they're supposed to be printed and they're cut, some information overflows to another page. So I'm going to print this. This is fit for printing. I think I'm going to print this. All right, I'm just send it to my printer. Okay, so Okay, that's just my printer printing that. Okay, so let's go back to whilst it is printing. Let's go back to step 18. Step 18, we are given the data that you're supposed to enter. Now, this is very important, that you enter the data as it is. Please don't jumble this data. Don't enter an approximate. Verify. This is what is called in ICT proofreading. Check that the data that you have entered is actually the correct data. Please, I repeat, if you miss a value here, the entire column of where this data was supposed to go is going to be marked wrong. Okay, so you're supposed to enter the exact value as you see it, right? So to do that, I'm gonna go back here and let me just I don't know if I can drag this to the side. God, can you help me drag this to the side so that I can see the values? So I can't see the values. Okay, sadly I can't see the values. What I wanted to do was to be able to drag this so that I can have these windows side by side. um, I can put up this window side by side as well. I don't know if there's that feature here. Let's put windows side by side, show windows side by side. Okay, okay, there you go. So some windows I'm gonna have to minimize them, like this one, and then maximize this. I don't know. Anyway, let me not do that because it seems I'm gonna have to put this here and drag this down there. Okay, okay, there you go. Number of hours is there. Okay, fine. And I'm gonna have to get this and just enlarge it as well. Okay, and just there so that I can really see these values. But for me, you're going to have a hard copy of this paper, and I'm sure you're going to be looking on this copy. But I just didn't want to minimize. I just wanted to see these windows on the same screen so that I can enter the values nicely. So 35, 35, and 10. Then I'm gonna have 21 and no, I missed a value, did I? Yes, 35 here, you see. So if I didn't see that, then it's gonna be an issue. So 21, 12, 37, 0, 12, 7, 42, and 35. So just do counter check, verify that actually you have these results or these values input as they're supposed to be input. Okay, so let's just go through 35, 35, 10, 35, 21, 12, 37, 0, 12, 7, 42, and 35. Perfect. So I'm gonna have to maximize this again and go back to my Excel and maximize it again. Now this is what I wanted. Now the other part here, you noticed, if you come back on to this question, it said make sure that the contents of the cells are fully visible. Now some students do struggle to interpret what's the meaning of the hashtags here. Now the hashtags, what they mean actually, if you hover there, you'll see that there's actually a value that is represented there. Do you see that? But the hashtags signify you that this value is actually too large for this cell. In other words, the cell is too small to contain this value. So what do you have to do? You have to come back here, of course, and enlarge the cell, and you will see that the values of the cell actually are going to be shown here, and your total is also going to be shown. Okay, so once you do that, then that is done. Let's go to that was step 16, step 17, step 18. Okay, so we've done these values. It says save and print the spreadsheet showing formula. Make sure that the row and column headings are displayed. Okay, so we come back here and we must make sure that the formula is actually being shown here. Okay, so to show the formula, you need to go here. So first of all, save. Okay, then show the formula. So here this tab says show the formula. Show the formula, and you will see that this formula the formulas are going to be displayed there, and you notice that this is going to become somewhat a little bit enlarged. So your secret, as usual, you need to resize this. So a perfect size, just double click there and it's going to be resized according to the need for that data. Okay, so just double click on the edges and you see that this data is going to be resized accordingly as it deserves. Okay, and you see that is done. Okay, so let's go back to the question. It says save and print a spreadsheet showing the formula. Make sure that the row and column headings are displayed. So we go back to save it and print it. Now you notice I already set it to fit to one page. Okay, so that is fantastic, and it is on an A4 page. Now the question is, should I make this portrait? If I make it landscape, it looks a little bit enlarged and nice. If I make it portrait, it looks compressed and all. But the question didn't ask me to make it landscape or portrait. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it as it is, portrait. Please, you must be mindful also when the question asks you and when the question doesn't ask you. Okay, so the only thing that we need to add here, the question asked us to make sure that the row and column headings are actually displayed. So we're gonna go back here and we're gonna go on printer page setup, and I'm gonna come here where it says sheet. Okay, and I'm gonna say make sure that this one is checked actually, row and column headings. I'm gonna say okay, and you'll see that the columns and the rows are going to be put in there. Okay, if this is done, it's fit in one page. It is the rows and columns ahead are put. May I emphasize also here, when you are told to put the rows and the columns, please do put them. And if a question doesn't ask you to put rows and columns, don't put them. ICT is that simple. You're supposed to produce exactly as your document, your files, or reports are required. Don't modify them. For God's sake, don't modify them. Let me not say for God's sake, but don't modify them for the sake of passing this exam. Yeah, don't modify them. Don't. Right? Okay, so let me print this, and we're fit to go to the next section. Next section. Okay, so I've printed. Step 20 says print the spreadsheet showing the values. So now instead of me having the formula, I'm going to uncheck the formula, and I'm going to resize this nicely, and I'm going to make sure that the cells are visible as usual. Okay, don't get tired of doing this. Make sure that the cells are visible. What needs to be maximized needs to be maximized. What needs to be enlarged or reduced should be reduced. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is the other section for printing the values. So I'm gonna send this to the printer as well. Now this section didn't ask me whether I should make sure that check here I was asked to make sure that the columns, the rows and the column headings are visible, but this other one didn't ask me to do that. Okay, it says print the spreadsheet showing the values, just the values. We're not interested in the column and the rows. Very important. Okay, so I'll go back here and remove the column, rather the column and row headings, so that it is just like that. That is very important, guys. You should do what you're told to do. If you added a feature and on printing, that feature should not be there if need be. Are you going to be penalized if you put there? In some cases you may, in some cases you may not. It may be considered like you added something that, but as long as what is required is there, I don't think there should be an issue there. So I'm gonna print this. Okay, I'm gonna go back to step 21. In row 1, change the text week 14 so that it becomes week 15. Simple. So I'm going to go back here. The text where it says week 14, I'm going to change so that it becomes week 15. As simple as that. Am I supposed to do? It says replace the text in the existing data in the hours worked column with this text. So I'm going to reduce this, and I'm going to reduce this as well. As usual, I want to go back and see all my columns. For you have a hard copy paper in the exam, so you don't need to do that. So I'm gonna remove this, delete them, all of them, and then I'm gonna put the new data: 36, 35, 12, 35, 21, 12, 37, 38, where am I? Okay, 12, 7, 42, and 24. Okay, very important. Right, so I'm done that. Let me maximize this once more. And so I've replaced the data with this, and then I've been asked to print the spreadsheet showing the values. So I'll go back to my spreadsheet, maximize it, and it has the values, and they are all visible. The cells are visible, and I'm gonna go back here and go to print, and I'm gonna print it as it is. It is a portrait A4 fitting on one page, and I'll print it. Right, so let's go to another step. Sort the employee data in ascending order of employee name. Okay, employee data in ascending order of employee name. So let's go back here. Employee name is this one, so we need to sort this one in ascending order of employee name. So right click, highlight, select the cells, right click, go to sort, and then sort A to Z in ascending. Okay, and then it says Microsoft found data next to your selection. Since you have not selected this data, it will not be sorted. Okay, so I'm gonna go with continue current selection. And the thing that you should look out for here is that you need to look out for the value. Like for example, Hernandez, the employee number is T42. Sometimes you may sort this and you find that this data doesn't get to be changed. Okay, and for example, T42 continues to remain as T42, and then for example, let's say Ali is the first person on the list. Ali assumes T42. So what we want when we sort this, we want T65 actually to be the first one, Ali to be the first one. Okay, so the employee name with their corresponding ID number and their corresponding values actually should be the same. Okay, so I'm going to click on sort. So now watch this. T65 did not change. Did you see that? It didn't go up there. Actually, T42 remained, and this is what many students will do in the exam, and that changes everything. Okay, that changes everything. So please don't do that. Don't just select this and make it as select the cell and then sort it as it is. Okay, so I'm gonna undo this. I just wanted you to see that actually when you just highlight these cells and sort them as they are, then it's going to be sort of an issue. So you can sort according to the employee. Sorry about that. Let me just get this as a table, and I hope it's gonna work out. Let me say custom sort. I hope this is gonna work out, guys. um, Column B, I don't think this is gonna work out. What I'm gonna do is put this in a table. Just select this as a table, and I'm gonna go on home and then format table as. I don't know if I should format the table as. Let me just come back here. Pardon me, guys. Format that. Let me undo this. It's supposed to be this one, and then format this one. Sort A to Z. I don't know why, for some reasons it is not. Let me just let's say sort and filter here. Sort A to Z. I don't know. Expand the selection. Guys, come on! I can't just seem to sort this out. Can you imagine when you as the instructor fails to sort your values nicely? This is embarrassing. Okay, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. Way too embarrassing. way too embarrassing. So let's say put custom sort, expand the selection, continue with current selection. Okay, let me just get these values as they are, and then right click them and sort, custom sort, and then I'm gonna sort by employee, and I'm gonna sort the values A to Z and say okay. Excellent. Guys, I had the hard time there. Can you imagine? Ah, this is funny. You know, I didn't go through this paper, and it's been a while. I did Excel, and I was wondering, what am I supposed to do here? And I was literally almost beginning sweating. Oh God, help me! Right, so what we expected is that Ali should go up and their corresponding ID number or payroll number should be sorted there. So what I did was select the values in the table and went to sort and went to custom sort, and I selected sort by employee and then order A to Z and by values. Okay, and yeah, and that was actually sorted out. Whew. And then it says print the spreadsheet showing the values, guys. Oh my God. Ah, thank you. This is nice. All right, so the next one we're supposed to print the spreadsheet showing the values. So let's go back here and actually go to file and print, and then we need to print this showing the values. So it will fit on one page fit a sheet on one page, and it's A4, and it looks perfect. There's nothing to add there. I'm just gonna click on print. Now, the other thing, guys, that I wanted to say here is that when you're printing or when you're making your printouts, it's important that the pages are sorted out in the order of the steps that asked you to print them. I've noticed that sometimes marking student papers, they're jumbled and you have to figure out which sheet is actually for which step. Okay, I like it that when exam or invigilators are giving you the paper, if you feel that is the right paper, you put it facing down, and then the next paper is going to go on top facing down as well, and the other paper is going to go on top, and so on and so forth. So as papers keep on coming out, they'll be piled up on top of each other. They are facing down, so that at the end of the exam you just have to flip the pages or the papers, and they'll be in the order of the questions that asked you to print. Okay, so don't forget about that. Okay, so I'm done with that, and I'll go back to my question. Says hide rows 17 to 27. Okay, step 26. Row 17 is this one, so click there and drag and hold all the way to 27. I don't know if it is 27. Let me just verify. 17 to 27. Okay, so I'm gonna select that, and then I'll right click just by the edges here, not here, just by the edges here. I'll right click and I'll find hide down there, and I'll click on hide, and you see that it will have it to be hidden. Okay, so let's go now. Search the data to extract only the employees who have worked overtime and have a pay code starting with F. So we search for only those who have worked overtime. If we go back here, if there is overtime where it says yes, we accept, and then if there is anything that starts with F in the pay code, then we accept that. Okay, show evidence in your methods in your evidence document. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come back here. Okay, I'm gonna select this table as usual. I'm gonna go right click, go to filter, and I'm gonna go to filter by selected value, sales selected value, and I'm gonna go here and select filter. What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm gonna go to text filters, and let's say equal to, for overtime, let me just verify these, guys. Overtime, who have worked overtime. So overtime is the value for years that we are looking for. So overtime, I want text filter, and I'm going to say um, custom filter, which is equal to the value yes. Okay, so let's see, select all, and for some reason I can't seem to get incomplete. No. Oh, I don't know. Guys, come on. Come on. Highlight this and filter by your cell value, and let me get the value that says yes. Perfect. Guys, come on. The reason I'm laughing is having the confidence that you're going to do this, and then when when you get to start to do it, and then you get stuck and you say, huh? You know what you're trying to do, but you can't just seem to do it. Guys, please don't be frustrated in the exam. There are many ways that you try this, and learn from me. I'm not the perfect person. I'm not an IT person like per se, but I'm a programmer, and these things is good to try everything until it works. So I'll select yes there, and you'll see that all the values of the guys that worked there. So this one is done. Okay, this one is done. So let me verify if this had actually asked you to show evidence. So if this actually asked me to show evidence, then before I clicked on OK, I needed to do this and then capture this screenshot. So I'll capture this one, and then I'll come back to my evidence document, and I'll go on I'll maximize this, and I'll go on step 27, which says searching method. I'll delete that, and I'll come back here. Let me just move this one to a new page, and I'm gonna put a screenshot here, and I'm gonna have to crop this. So this is the evidence that I've selected only for the guys that did overtime. Okay, I'm gonna have to crop this as well. Let me leave that. I'll crop it there, and I'll probably crop it up to that side. Okay, and I'll crop this side up to here. Yeah, just to make sure. Okay, and then I'm just gonna resize this so that it is more visible. Okay, I hope this is visible enough. Somebody can see. Yeah, that is visible. The yes is visible. Okay, so this is the evidence that I've actually selected only those employees that actually yes. Okay, there was another section, only employee that have got pay code starting with F. So I'll come back here. Now guys, please don't laugh. This is gonna be interesting. I might just as well. So I'll select this, and I'll go back, and I'll go to filter, and filter by cell value, and no, I'm gonna do that. Employee pay code. Let's see. I'm gonna select that, and I'm going to go to filter, and filter by value. Ooh. This is now interesting, guys. ah, I'm looking for custom filter. Um, this is okay. Let me go to text filters, and let me go to custom filter, and I want the pay code. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this. I want the pay code to filter by the pay code. So filter by that. For some reason, doesn't seem to. I'm gonna have to attempt to select this whole, and my God, what is happening? Oh, this is good, guys. Okay, it's good that doing this so that um, we learn from this. So I'm gonna go. Um, I don't know. Okay, this is something, guys, that is you see now it has even um, done my. Okay, so let me just go back here and do what I did for the other one. Select the whole values here, and I'm gonna go here and sort this. I don't know, was it sorting? no, not sorting. I'm gonna go filter and then filter by value, and um, for this one I'm gonna filter by the cell. um, okay guys, I'm gonna have to pause this video. Let me just figure out how to do this, huh? Right guys, welcome back. Actually had to pause the video just to figure out how am I going to sort this out, and actually I found a way of doing that. First of all, you need to select the table that you have there, and actually go to sort and filter, and then select filter here. You notice that the table actually gets to have these small icons. Yeah, I don't know if it is the same if I had to format this as a table. I don't know if it's the same. Let's do this, and then I'll come back just to explain something that I wanted to say. But after you do that, then you go here and select only for yes. So I'll select yes. This is the one. Then get the evidence of this one. Um, yeah, get the evidence as the one that you did, and then for pay code, go back here and say text filter, and then go to custom filter or begins with, because we want values actually that begin with F. Okay, let's start with F. So let's go here and say text filter, and then begins with, and then you see that the pay code actually, it should show pay code here, and you should begin with F and say okay, and this is actually what you have here. So the part says show evidence that you did that. So I'm gonna go back here, and I'm gonna go here and begins with, and it will show that begins with F. I'll get a screenshot of this, and um, I'm going to paste this in evidence document just here. So just at the bottom here, and I'll paste it there. Okay, so I'm gonna have just to trim this, just to crop it and just make sure that it is visible enough. Okay, I'll crop it all the way just to make sure it is somewhat visible, and just that, and okay, that. So let me just resize it. So what you're interested in actually here is that the pay code has has been filtered, and it begins with F. Okay, um, it'll be good if the F was capital. You see, if it was capital, just make it capital F. But this one doesn't look like F just yet. It is just up to us who know that it is F. But I'll leave it like that for now. But make it capital F so that it really looks like F. Okay. Right, guys. ICT is very interesting, and most of the things that you learn by doing. And don't be frustrated when you can't get around something or around the way. Like I did on just a couple of moments. I couldn't really figure how to sort this and how to filter. Not that I did know. I mean, I've done this years back, and I've done it also. But it's the first time I'm doing it in Office 2016, I must say. It's the first time I'm attempting this paper. You may expect here and there I get stuck, but let's be assured that I won't get stuck to the point that I stop the video and I get frustrated and I can't do it anymore. I'll get stuck. I'll probably pause the video and come back in a short while and continue with the video and with the solution to the question. Right. Okay, so guys, we proceed. Step 28. Print a spreadsheet showing the values. Okay, so come back here, say okay, and then we just need to print this spreadsheet now that it is showing the values, and it's going to be like that. And everything has been set already, so I'm just going to hit print, and my paper is going to come out from the printer in a short while. Well, that was the last part. Oh my god, I was even getting geared to start another step, but that was the Excel section. Oh, excuse me. Right. Okay. So I'm gonna stop here with the Excel section, and in another video I'm gonna start doing the HTML section. We're gonna start from step 29 all the way to step 40. Okay, so this one is gonna be a short one. but in a few days time I'm gonna put up this one when I get to have some free time at work. um, all right, so for this video, guys, thank you for watching. If there's something that you need me to clarify, please comment it out on the comment box. Subscribe to my channel. Feel free, if there's any paper that you want me to attempt, I just comment it out on the comment box, and I would really love to attempt that paper or anything. And now I'm doing ICT as well as computer science videos, so programming as well as ICT practical videos, paper 2 and paper 3. So please, if you're a computer science student, don't be discouraged. Give me a paper that you'd want me to attempt, and I'll put up a video of that paper in a short while. All right. So thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.